shit's so
We
funny.
back.
We're back.
We back.
We are.
Oh man, it's been a minute. It's been a minute. Nothing in our lives has
Minute.
changed at all.
Not a tick.
We're not.
Nothing's changed.
We're not a couple of busy guys. There's nothing going on.
No.
You know, it's not like
No.
little screaming baby running them around my house. Not running yet. That would be
Not even close.
not even close.
Not even close. Rolling. Tummy
Almost
time.
rolling. Yeah, that's just how we do
Tummy
things.
time.
I think he personally has some traits that I like. Other are definitely some weaknesses I've seen. So I'm currently
Jesus.
trying to-
We're talking about an infant like he's a prospect right now.
100%. 100%.
Christ.
It's fine. I threw him a football the other day. He didn't catch it. So there's one
Well,
drop on the record. No big deal.
UDFA. UDFA grade.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. Well, welcome everybody.
Yep.
Today we're going to be doing our draft special. We're going to go through 3 different sections. We're going to have, first off, we're going to do our top 5 positions. We're going to kind of run through these though, because we got a lot to cover today.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we do.
we're going to do top 5 positions, every position. And then we're going to do first round mock, every team.
Yep.
And then we're going to do a quick Broncos 7-round mock. We've already done these, so we're not going to go
It's not
through
gonna be live.
as we're going along. It's going to be just
Don't
you're
you
just
worry.
going to see them. We're going to talk about them real quick, and then we're going to leave you to go eat your dinners. Some of you are on the East Coast, and I am so sorry for there's none of you on the East Coast stayed up for this.
Man.
So anything you want to say before we get started, my guy?
No, man. I think this draft is going to be one that is it is going to be a lot of fun to watch. I think there's several position groups, and we'll talk about them. But there's several position groups that kind of stand out more than the others. There's some position groups that are just not as strong as recent years. I feel like safety is kind of one of those positions that there really hasn't been like a top tier guy in a while. And like we haven't really had a strong class in a few years. But this is going to be really exciting. I'm really happy that we're getting to break down these groups. We did a few of those first round mocks with tons of different scenarios. The Broncos mock, we did like 3 or 4 of those with different scenarios. So I'm really excited to get down into this, give the people the information that they want, and here's some pretty decent and or okay draft takes.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that's important to remember, like, all these evaluations are super subjective. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's literally what we are looking at.
100%. 100%. We're just having going through some names. If you want to go and do the evals yourself, absolutely. And we're glad to provide some names for you to go check out. Just kind of on the top end of things, because a lot of these are going to be very face value, first to, first
round guys. A lot of these names are going to be names that you already know. But maybe going through our top 5 for positions, maybe there's some orders that you disagree with, or maybe there's some guys that you feel like maybe should be higher than others. That's okay. Let us know. We'll be happy to discuss it. But yeah, man, it's been fun watching a lot of these guys. I feel like there's definitely more guys in the deeper parts of the draft that I'm like, I think this guy could do some good. Like, I think this guy could be a really good guy in the right situation. So yeah, man, let's get down to it.
All right, let's jump into it. First off, we're going to go with our top 5, starting off with, of course, the big one. Quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So this class obviously is, I don't know, in my opinion, it's I wouldn't say it's stacked, but it's pretty good. You have quite a few different tiers you're looking at based on
better than last year's.
Better than last year's.
Better for that too.
I think the top three are pretty unanimous.
Yeah.
I think it depends on how you look at Jaden Daniels.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, his Heisman year, had a great year. How he fits at the next level. But besides that, it's not really super crazy. Obviously, me being a UW fan, I've been watching a little bit more Michael Penix than the average Joe Schmo, and I'm very much big on Penix. And of course, you have what? Bo Nix in there?
Yeah. 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 I think, I was going back and forth really, really between Daniels and McCarthy of who to put at 3. And for me, it just came down to, Daniels is probably going to do a little bit more right now, assuming that he goes to Washington. He'll probably be a little more productive than JJ right now. It's like McCarthy has the age. There's a ton of traits there that you can mold. So I think that's where I have him at 4. And then for both, between Bo Nix and Penix, for me, it came down to it really came down to the injuries. It came down to maneuvering within the pocket, ability to kind of escape and extend plays. Like that's really what it came down to me for. So I think when you get past like the top 3, you can kind of put you can kind of interchange a lot of these guys. Like there's things that Bo Nix does that I'm not really the biggest fan of. I who knows how he's going to be with intermediate and deep passing at the next level in rhythm. Michael Penix is a really good rhythm thrower, but what kind of offense can he play in? So I think it's more of just like you can kind of move after 3. You can move anyone. You could probably even put Spencer Rattler up there. If you don't love Penix, you don't love Nix, put Spencer Rattler out there at 5 or 4.
Yeah, I mean, there's been quite a bit of Spencer Rattler hype ever since the Senior Bowl, and I get it. Like he has the arm. Obviously, the QB1 history that was a long time ago. No one's holding that against him.
Has he grown from it? That's the big thing. Has he?
It seems like it, based off of social media. It looks like it. And he did that thing with Kay Adams where they were trying on different colors to see what NFL team he might go, what color he looks best in, and that deciphers what NFL team he might go to. So heck, they said either Broncos or Seahawks. So Broncos fans, Spencer Rattler. It is.
Yeah.
Also, a thing to note, I think that Jaden Daniels, although kind of take it or leave it, his total EPA and EPA per attempt were the highest out of the top 6. And actually, he had the second highest yak yards as well. So I think that is kind of just depicts on the
it's like
on who he has there. Obviously had a loaded offense. So did Penix. Bo Nix obviously had the most yak yards and the lowest amount of pressures, just because he gets rid of the ball really quick. So it's just kind of like, I again with the Bo Nix, I think he will be successable in the right offense. I really think it just depends on the right offense. Same with Michael Penix Jr. I think some of the others are a little more I think JJ, Caleb, and Drake are a little more easily placed and can work with a little bit better, but I just think JJ McCarthy has a little bit more to grow. So that's where we're going with there. All right, let's move on to RBs. This one was fun. I don't think it's the deepest running back class we've ever had. I don't think there's any crazy top end talent. I think there's just a lot of good, solid talent that I don't think is going to go day one. If any of these guys go day one, I will be supremely surprised. However, we saw 2 running backs go in the top 10 last year. So
I think that was different. I think that's quite different. Bijan was the best running back that we've seen since Saquon. and he still didn't go top 5.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I mean, you and I last year, we were fully on the Gibbs train.
Yeah.
And then when he was taken at what, 12, people were like, why would they do that?
Yeah.
And we were like, we've been telling you for months. This
It
dude,
was one of those things where it's like, sometimes you gotta go get your guy.
It felt good to get a win.
Yeah.
It felt good. It felt really good to get a win.
For sure.
No, I feel like this running back class is like, if you're a team that's looking for a solid like running back 2 or running back 3, like someone that you can kind of put in situations and they'll find success. I think that this is that type of class. Trey Benson's got great speed. Like, he's dealt with injuries in the past, but like killer speed. Jalen Wright is a little more complete. Like, you've got some good receivers in here.
Mm-hmm.
Blake Corum had that great production a couple of years ago before the ACL, and now he's still decent, but like the injury healed. So I think that this is more so a class where you're just kind of looking for another guy to pair with the running back that you already have, or like just add a guy into your committee. I don't think that there's like a true, bell cow in this class.
Yeah, I think the closest probably would be Blake Corum, but the fact that he already has 258 attempts just last season after his injury is insane. So
if tread on those tires.
Yeah, if Harbaugh drafts him,
he'll be with J.K. Dobbins.
Huh?
He'll be with J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards.
Yeah, that'll.
He won't get a ton of snaps as a rookie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no kidding. One guy that's kind of a surprise probably is Audric Estime. Honestly, I am a simp for yards after contact, and he is an absolute beast. He's a big bowling ball that is actually faster than you think he is. He actually ran, I think his average top speed was like 0.3 slower than Garendo during the season. So he can move when he gets the opportunity. So I think he can fit in a lot of different systems. He's decent in pass catching as well. So I threw him in there. Do you love Bucky? He was close. He was close for me. I think he's underrated, quicker than fast, but I think he's going to be very versatile. For those that are Broncos fans in here, I could definitely see a Bucky Irving type running back later for the Broncos.
It just feels like there's not really like an explosive runner in this class. Like literally Blake Corum had the most explosive plays, but then you look at the tread and it's like, ooh, these tires are almost bald. So
absolutely.
that's the best.
No, you were right. We're gonna make a t-shirt of that. All right, moving on to the big class, wide receiver.
Oh wow, look at that.
Yeah, I think we are pretty on par with this. Obviously, the elephant in the room, Roman Wilson to me is a absolute workhorse, and he showed it at the Senior Bowl. He showed it in his blocking abilities. The dude is an absolute beast. And I could absolutely see him being that sleeper that just pops out. And I know that people don't typically have like slot receivers on their top 5s or whatever, because the boundaries are the wideouts are the cool ones. But I just think he's
Neighbors is right there.
A little savior to whatever QB room he goes and blesses.
Yeah, I think I don't hate it. Like I think after 4. I think after 4, it's kind of like up to your discretion, right? Like this is like Brian. There's no denying that Brian Thomas Jr. is going to be an absolute animal at the next level, especially as he continues to progress and get better. I think a lot of people would be like, oh, why don't you have AD Mitchell up there? Well, like for a number of reasons. Like I think that, for me, the reason I put Keon Coleman at 5 is because I think that there's a ton of potential and a ton of upside there. This guy's a freak athlete.
Yep.
He's still learning. And it's in his blood. Like his cousin is CeeDee Lamb. Like, you think that they're not going to be working together in the offseason? You think that he's not going to be getting better? Like, yeah. But as far as your Roman Wilson take, like, I think you're absolutely on par. Wilson is, like, despite being a slot guy, like, gives tremendous effort, very sure-handed, can run every route in the tree. Like, I think that it's solid. I think that it's a good number 5.
Yeah, and I think also with the AD Mitchell thing is there were I don't know,
because of the
diabetes, like, a bit of character issues. Kind of speculation. There's been the reports of blood sugar issues causing more anger and stuff like that. That you're kind of like, could he? I mean, he could be a top 3 in this class easy. I think he has the abilities. I think it's just going to be at the next level.
I mean, that's all just going to be about who he surrounds himself with, and what other team, whatever team he goes to, how they surround him with people too. We've seen a ton. We've seen a ton of examples of prospects coming in with diabetes, and it being just fine. Jay Cutler was just fine. Mark Andrews has been just fine. There's a couple other players, I think, that have diabetes at that level. But as far as it being like a character concern, nah, man, he's got low blood sugar. Like, you, like, put yourself in his shoes. For him not to do something about it, like, yeah, that's on him. But you're going to the NFL. I'm sure there's already been plenty of people in his ear saying, "Hey, man, we gotta do some work on this. We gotta get you right, get you on a good schedule." So it's not really like a character concern of mine going into the league. I think he'll get it handled, but I understand the concern, and it's still valid concern, but, like, it's not really like a character thing. Buddy's body is literally telling him, "Hey, I'm hungry."
His body is telling him he's hungry.
All right, get on to tight ends.
Too soon. Yeah, but this wide receiver class is absolutely loaded. If you told me you had 5 different receivers in here, I'd say you're lying, but I'd also be like, yeah, I'd say after the top 3, I'd hear what you have to say if you threw in a bunch of different other receivers, for sure. Just one of those classes, man. Okay, moving on.
Yes.
You know what? This class, I don't think has gotten I don't want to say enough hype. I think it's better than people have put off.
I do too.
Obviously, Brock Bowers at the top. I'm actually a big Ben Sinnott fan. I think he's a good blocker. I think he knows coverages and he knows how to get open. He has great hands, good size, and he tested almost the same as, if not better than, Jatavian Sanders.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I think he's going to be the sneaky one. It's like this every year. There's always that, like, deep tight end that just pops off. I think it might be Ben Sinnott this year.
I think so too. I would agree. I think he's a tremendous blocker, tremendous effort blocker. But man, there's this class, like, I don't feel like it's getting enough love, because there's some guys that, like, I was thinking about putting in my top 5, like Theo Johnson, like a Dallin Holker, like a Tip Ryman, who are just, like, as a tight ends guy, as a tight ends coach, I'm like, man, these are guys I would be pounding the table for. Eric All from Iowa. That's why I put him in my top 5.
I like that. When I saw you put that in there, I like that.
Yeah. And, like, I honestly could take out Jatavian Sanders and put Theo Johnson in there and be, like, completely fine with it. I think that this class is a bit deeper, like you said, I feel like there's better talent in this class than people would lead you on to believe. And then, like, when you think about it from a specific like a specific team standpoint, there's guys in this, there's tight ends in this class that, it's not like one, there isn't one that's like he's only an inline guy. Or like even Brock Bowers with all of his receiving prowess, like he can still block a little bit. Like give him some time, he'll get there. He's got a big frame. He's 6'4", man. He's
pretty solid. I think he's pretty solid at blocking. I completely agree.
I think that to wrap that up, like this class is going to be a lot better than people think, and I think that if you needed a tight end in this class, like this honestly is not a terrible class to get after one. And next year's class is supposed to be really good. So I'm excited.
Yep. Can you hear my super loud heater, by the way, behind me?
Hardly.
Okay, cool. I'll take partly. Moving on. Interior. Okay. I cheated a little bit here. I'm not going to lie. You'll see why when we get to the next.
Yeah, that's fair. I know what you were doing. I know what you were doing.
So obviously I have Troy Fautano at number 1 because he's extremely versatile and has played 3 different positions on the offensive line. And I think he could play any of them, honestly. And I think a lot of teams will take that as an advantage when they draft him. And so you will see him on my tackles list as well, because I think that a team could draft him to be a tackle and to be to be a guard. And I don't think that's super common. A lot of times they'll try it out, but I think he is so versatile that is a real possibility. And then I think Graham Barton is the same, where obviously he was a tackle, but I think he'll be converted into going in the inside as well.
Yeah.
And then Jackson Powers, obviously. Jackson Powers is the best. In my opinion, the best center in this class. Shows a lot of strength, a lot of intelligence.
Fast shit.
Immediate pro.
Yeah. No, I put Fautanu as a tackle. I did not put him as interior. But I think that he can play tackle at the next level, and that's why. And I kind of think the same about Barton, but man, like seeing him pull the way that they had him pulling at Duke, I was like, oh man, he would be a great guard. Like he would be such a fun guard. I listened to the Athletic Football Show quite a bit, and today they were talking about how Barton put Jared Verse on his ass. And I remember that game, and I was like, oh man, see, that was the play where I was like, holy shit, this guy can play. And like you said, JPJ, super explosive, can probably play center or guard. Cooper Beebe, another guy that he'll probably play multiple positions. Christian Hayes, I think that dude's going to be specifically a guard. Would not be surprised if he ends up as a Baltimore Raven. And then Zach Frazier for me, only a center, but man, that dude is strong as hell. Great.
Honestly, depending on how you see a lot of these, I feel like the center class is honestly stronger than the guard class. I know they're kind of
depending on how you're
looking at it.
There.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, moving on. Joe Alt for me has been the dude for quite a while.
Yep.
I just think he's outstanding. Obviously, his father, John Alt, he was also a first-round pick. Joe Alt's going to go higher than his father. His father went like in the 20s. Joe's going to go like in the 6.
Yeah. 5 maybe.
Same. It's crazy. They're like body types are the same size too. It's like they're like both 6'8".
It's almost like his son.
Identical. And then Olu obviously decided to go back last year. A lot of people probably would have had him in their top 3 tackles last year in the first place. But I'm glad that he went back. Really refined his skill set. He's still only 20 and going to be 21 in December, I think. So, and then of course, Troy, like I said before, a team could utilize him at any of the 5 positions up front, and I would not be surprised.
Yeah. Alt for me, like Alt is the blue chip tackle of this class. And he's just so clean, so athletic, even for his size. I put Fuaga at 2, just because he's grown on me quite a bit. And then Fashanu and Fautanu, I think either one of them are, you can put either one of them at 3 or 4. Say what you want about Fashanu's hands, but I think he'll be fine. And then I put Amarius Mims instead of JC Latham, just because even in the small sample size,
he's a monster.
When you watch him, I mean, God damn, he can move, and he's so he's 300 plus pounds, and he's like that thin. I mean, that's like he's just dense. So I think there's the upside there is absolutely tremendous. So that's why I put him in there over Latham.
Yeah, I like Talise as well. I just think one of the things his arm length isn't as long as you think it would be. So he lets people get a little too close to his chest, and that can cause an issue. But I honestly, he's an absolute beast on the outside. I know there's been speculation. I think they played him a little bit at left tackle at the Senior Bowl. So he could potentially move in over there. I don't think he has any game reps at that position, but could be transferable. And then JC Latham, I think, is just an all-around solid tackle in general. I think he doesn't have a ton of weaknesses outside of the typical overthinking, overextending. But this is another one of those positions that I think is quite loaded in this class.
Agreed.
What are we at? We're almost at 30 minutes. All right, let's move it.
Yeah.
Defensive line.
Let's talk about this.
Underrated. Yeah. Byron Murphy, obviously. The first 2, obviously, for us are, I don't know,
interchangeable.
Yeah. Almost. Honestly, I think Byron Murphy is a lot more explosive. I think Johnny is he's solid. He's just like he has a lot slower of a get off. But once he's there, he has a lot more in his tool belt as far as hand fighting to really get to the next level or get to the quarterback. So I just kind of like pick your poison a lot for this class. I mean, there's a lot of 3 techs in this class to be 3 tech 4i in this class to really play around with. A lot of tweeners, if you will, that we'll see where teams value them. I think a lot more of 4-3 friendly interior defensive linemen in this class for sure. Outside of Tavondre Sweat, who obviously had the issues where it was reported that he not only had parting issues, and then he told the teams during the interviews that he was, past that, he was fine, and then goes out and gets a DUI. So where we end up seeing that, DWI, sorry, where we end up seeing him go is going to be really curious. I think it wouldn't have been as big of a deal if there wasn't already a previous history. But the fact that there's already a previous history might make teams second guess it, and he might be someone that you might see falling quite a bit.
Yeah, I think he will fall. Just because of those things. He's still a kid.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Just because a kid says, "Oh yeah, I'm done partying." Are you? Like, you're about to get a lot of money. So let's be careful. But for me specifically, I put Michael Hall as my third interior lineman, defensive lineman. And I mean, I understand like that Sweat's going to be like a true nose at the next level. But man, Michael Hall just wins at the point of attack. Like, he's so quick with his hands. He's got really, really good strength. And I just think that his ability to win in pass rush and his improvement in his run defense, I think that really sold it for me. I like Braden Fisk. I just don't know about the pass rush ability. You know, if you want a good run stuffer, sure. Same thing with Chris Jenkins. Chris Jenkins is going to be a dog on the inside.
100%.
So, you know, hey, if you're a team like the Broncos, any one of these guys would be a welcome addition.
100%. Cool. Moving to edge. Our boy Jared Verse up top. For me, it's just the motor. I'm a huge high motor guy. I love power, high motor. I love a bigger tool set, but I don't care as much if you are just like shoving that tackle back. Which Jared Verse likes to do. I think Dallas Turner kind of has a little bit of that, just because of his length, and he doesn't have as big of a tool set. He kind of just like he loves to do the stiff arm move a lot more.
The long arm.
Yep. I think Latu, just for me, I like him. I think
he's productive.
I think he's productive, but once he's out of the play, he's just done. Which I'm not as big of a fan of, and obviously the where he retired a few years ago because of the neck injury. That always, I understand that was a few years back. I don't know. It's just a neck injury that makes you retire. Makes me a little just cautious.
Yeah. And I think like looking at how he bounced back from that, you know, he generated so much pressure at UCLA but like all of those guys did. So was it like, was it Latu or like, was it just, you know, that whole defense? But yeah, I mean, he's got great hand moves. Turner, I still think, I feel like there's just no like edge setter. Like there's no really good like run defending edge. Like Turner's okay, but he still needs to get better. Verse is fine. Like he's okay. Latu is mad. Chop is mad. Like Darius Robinson's pretty good. But like he's still growing. So it's like there's not just that like really good, solid all around edge defender. Like Will Anderson last year. I feel like a lot of people wanted Dallas Turner to get to the Will Anderson level, and for me, he just didn't get there. But man, if we could have gotten Will Anderson last year, talking we as in Denver, if Denver got Will Anderson last year, I would have been fantastic with that. And a lot of people, for some reason, didn't see him as the first overall pick last year, which is nuts because he was like the dude. So yeah, I don't know, man. I think that this is just a edge class that is a little more top heavy, and then you got some guys that are just going to be situational pass rushers. You're not going to defend on them to.
I do like Darius Robinson though, as far as like, I mean, he would be probably more of a defensive end situation. When it was funny actually because Joey JR Drafts, for those of you watching that might know, at JR Drafts, he actually reached out to me one time back in like January and asked me if I had watched Darius Robinson's tape. And I said, he's a tank, no flexibility and not a ton of speed off the snap. But once he touches you, good luck. Because this dude is just like, he's a freight train once he has his hands on you. But he's just so raw. But I honestly love it. He also has one of those higher motors that I'm just like, let's go.
Relentless.
A coach will just put him out and just like, go get the quarterback, please. That's all I got to do.
Yep.
All right. Moving on. Linebacker. This one, this class, not my favorite. Not gonna lie.
Underwhelming.
Not gonna lie. I'll go with the elephant in the room. Obviously, I have another UW guy in there. He hasn't had a ton of playing time outside because of the injuries, but when he has, he's been very good in coverage. He's been very quick. He's been great laterally. And he just attacks the ball. And I think he has a lot of potential that a lot of teams will love at the next level. I'm honestly not super high on this class. I think Jeremiah Trotter also doesn't get a ton of respect anymore. He used to. I know that Barrett took up all the shine there at first. And Trotter kind of just back in the limelight as kind of being more of your typical inside linebacker. And he's not like the quickest. He's not, but he's just there. He's always there, and which is like, I don't know. I feel like in the NFL, at the end of the day, that's
you can find the ball carrier. You can make stops.
That's kind of the ones that end up showing up. And same with Peyton Wilson. He's just there, man, all the time.
He is
all the time. He's one of those guys. And he looks a lot smaller than he actually is, which is pretty crazy. I think he's 6'3", I don't know, 220 or something like that. But his frame just looks smaller. But I don't know.
This class is pretty underwhelming. I don't see any of these guys being taken in the first round. I think the consensus right now is like Colson is gonna go at 37 to the Chargers, which like would just be hilarious. But I think like Edgerrin Cooper, the closing speed, just really, really good bounce, really, really good leverage. Colson was an absolute monster. For me, like the reason I put Peyton Wilson at 3 was because of the injury concerns. But man, like those top 3 guys, they can play. I just feel like there's no Jack Campbell in this class that can really, really, cover the seams and is just massive. I don't see it.
I could totally see like a Edgerrin Cooper being almost like a jock at the next level. JOK. I could see that.
Uses his athletic abilities, like the speed, the sideline to sideline. But man, as we're going to these like heavier boxes now, and teams are going to really like get back to running power football, it's going to be tough for those guys to succeed.
All right, so we're 37 minutes in. Let's start running through these a little bit. Quarterback. I think the top. Well, no, okay, never mind. I was going to say
have the same 5.
Just
different order.
Same 5, different order. I think it's really pick your poison. Terry Arnold obviously shows a lot of good Bama skill set. Like they don't make bad corners. They are teched up. They usually have good size.
They can play the run.
They can play the run. They're usually studs in man. Kool-Aid shows a little bit more ability in zone. Quinion is also more of a zone guy.
But he showed he could play some man. He could play some press. And that was like, hey.
Not too shabby. Cooper DeJean also, I think, is the biggest wild card. He could end up being the best out of this whole thing just because he's just everywhere. He's like the Dion of this bunch. Obviously, quite a big difference there, but he's like that type where he can kind of do it all.
Don't do that.
What? He's gonna go to the Broncos now because it's Colorado and all that stuff.
He's the most like Dion, but different. What's different?
Same but different. Same but different.
What's different?
But different. Safeties. Yeah. So
we
same but different.
This is same but same.
Obviously, we had the same safeties. This class not great.
Again,
but who really stands out to me, honestly, is Jaden Hicks. I really like him. I like the attack mentality that he has. He is just always around the ball, and that's a good thing. I mean, primarily you'd hope that your safety would get there sometimes before the ball is there, but I think in this class, Tyler Nubin is the biggest ball hawk of the bunch. He had like 5 picks this last year, but it's quite a few headhunters. I'm not gonna lie this year. And of the bunch, Jaden Hicks is kind of my dude. Even though it's Washington State.
Also Cameron Kitchens. Did you put Kitchens because he's cooking in the backfield?
No, I was doing it because I was doing this really quick.
Kitchens from Miami.
He's cooking on the field.
Cameron Kitchens also had 5 interceptions this season. He's got really, really good instincts. but yeah, Jaden Hicks, I think, is probably the best out of this bunch. His ability to come down in the box, play deep, the closing speed that he has, the toughness. I mean, he's laying some hits. But those Georgia safeties too, they come down in the box really well. They're very well coached, really good at diagnosing run plays, quick screens, stuff like that, and coming downhill fast. So I think those two guys could probably develop into really good pros. Kalen Bullock looked like he could play a little bit too. But yeah, man, I think Jaden Hicks out of this group is probably one of the best.
100%. All right, that's our top 5 at each position. I'll repost these too on Twitter just so you guys can take a look over it and critique us, call us out, tell us we are stupid.
Yeah.
Moving on, we're doing a first round mock of every single team.
Yeah, we don't have to explain all these.
We don't have to explain all these. There are trades.
Yes,
we went back and forth. We did this prior. Iowa's odds, he is evens. All the trades are his fault. Let's go. All right, obviously, number one. We'll just go slide by slide if you're cool. Yeah. Caleb Williams, no surprise there. Is the only team he met with.
Yep,
that team.
Jaden obviously.
Daniels, do you do this one?
Well, so I think we should just give a look at this and then just call out one pick that is like
all right.
the standout of that slide. And obviously JJ getting taken here at 4. I think that is the big one, right? Yep. No trade by the Broncos up into the top 5, but JJ going to the Vikings at 4 is the obvious standout.
Yep. And I think another option obviously is the Giants. There's been talk of that, but I think the Vikings got 2 first rounds for a reason, and this is probably it. Moving on, obviously Chargers have been reported maybe looking to move back, but Marvin Harrison Jr. is there.
Yeah,
that's.
I like the pick that stands out here in this slide is Odunze to the Giants. I fucking love that fit. I think that would be an awesome get for them. They really need an alpha receiver, and I think that Rome could be that alpha receiver at the next level.
Yep. To whatever quarterback's thrown to him. DJ?
Truly. Hey, Drew Lock?
Yeah. DL?
We do have to change this now, though. We'll keep the pick, obviously, but with the news of the Jets that we've been hearing, is that they'll probably be taking Brock Bowers at 10. But I'll let you talk. I'll let you talk about the.
Conklin's a good, nice. I don't know,
man.
Maybe. I mean, he's not Bowers though. I get it. And they're trying. They're a win now team. I think.
I mean, we can talk about these 2 other picks as well.
Yeah.
11 and 12.
So obviously Cardinals swapped with the Vikings, and they got Fa'utanu, and then the Broncos, they traded back so that the Packers can come up and get Olu, which I think it is pretty deep, not gonna lie, but I think they need to shore up their offensive line because they were in the playoffs last year and looking pretty good, and they're going to have to start making some decisions pretty soon. So they really need to start pushing.
Yep.
Go for it.
I think the standout one on this slide, Raiders take Byron Murphy, Saints take J.C. Latham, Colts take Brian Thomas Jr., the Seahawks take Kenyon Mitchell. I honestly think the standout one of this slide would be Byron Murphy to the Raiders. That would be an absolutely disgusting line. That would 100%. Be a nasty defensive front. Christian Wilkins, Max Crosby, Byron Murphy. Maybe if Tyree Wilson comes along, who knows? But that would be, that'd be scary.
Let's hope they're not smart enough to do that. Sorry if there's Raiders fans in here.
Yeah.
Well, kind of.
Not really.
Not really. Moving on. I think the big one here is obviously the AD Mitchell. The Bills trading up to snag a receiver because they got none. They have some, just none of AD's caliber. They're going to swap someone like Diggs with, some stuff, and then it's with AD Mitchell. It might have some stuff. It'll be cool though. Different skill set. I think they will produce very well actually in that offense. And then Terry Arnold, obviously Jags. Brock Bowers is finally giving Cool Joe Cool his sublime tight end.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. We are gonna go. I think Jared verse. Obviously, you talk about that trade up.
Yeah. There was an opportunity for the Eagles to trade down. Tampa Bay is going to be looking at edge rusher. Moving on from Shaq Barrett, they need another pass rusher to throw in there. Joe Tryon has kind of slowed down. Yaya Diaby has taken some of his snaps, so need a little more production. They get a pure pass rusher here in-house too. That's the best kind, local product. So.
Yeah. Also, I think one of the interesting Jackson Powers Johnson to the Vikings. Yeah. I think to get Garrett Bradbury is just not great. So they're going to kind of,
but they
maybe shift him over. They need to.
They kept 23 to move up to 4. How, Sway? Because the PFF mock sim wouldn't let us do it.
Yep,
that's why.
That's true. Fair. And then Graham Barton to the Dallas Cowboys to play.
I like that one.
One of the positions.
Maybe guard.
Yep. And then obviously the trade back. Listen, I made this pick and I'm a UW fan and I'm not the biggest on Bo Nix. However, if we trade back at the end of the first round, I think Nix fits what Sean Payton likes to do. Yeah. And I think it would make a lot of sense. This is not what I would want. This is what I think would make a lot of sense. And in this scenario, they were able to pick up a second as well. So you get a quarterback of the future, you get a second, you're looking pretty.
Yep.
And then Cooper DeJean, obviously, to the Eagles, I think there's just so much versatility there. And then Tyler Guyton to the Steelers with the trade back from the Bills.
Yeah. Nate Wiggins to the Cards too.
Sorry, forgot about Nate.
So, Nate. 29, we had the Lions taking Laiatu from UCLA. Ravens taking Lad McConkey at 30. That'll be
you talk about
that. And then Darius Robinson going to the Niners with Xavier Worthy going to the Chiefs. Yeah, so I took Lad McConkey at the Ravens. I think that it makes sense. I know that they're looking for offensive line, and that's fine. But they still need a receiver. That receiver room is not great. They moved on from OBJ. They need someone who can complement Zay Flowers, who's on the outside. For me as a coach, who better to bring in? I need a wide receiver. Oh, here's a kid that knows my system to a T, that can play to the outside.
I know him.
He can get open very well. It's going to be controversial, but I think if the top tackles are off the board, they don't love Jordan Morgan. Yeah. They don't want to go in a different direction. If their guys are gone, okay, wide receivers are our next position of need. Like, do that. Stop taking edges in round one. Get Lamar Jackson some help. So Lad McConkey, he gets open on the outside. Zay Flowers gets open underneath. It's a win-win. You get a guy who's already integrated into the system. It just makes too much sense.
Sure does. I also really like Darius Robinson. Was my pick to the 49ers. Just because of that. They were super surprised that the Ravens didn't take him. That they took Lab McConkey instead, but they're happy he's there. All right. And that's actually it for our mock draft. I hope all you liked it. I hope you agree with us because we know all. And now, so to wrap it up, we got 10 minutes left. We will jump on to the 7th-round mock from Boston for the Denver Broncos. So if you're not a Broncos fan, get out of here. Just kidding. Bye. You can stay if you can stay if you want. We love all. Same but different. So, as we've discussed already, makes sense. This one was a little different. It was the first.
This is a completely different mock draft.
Yeah, different mock draft. We did. We did actually a few, 3 or 4 different mock drafts, and we kind of consolidated what we thought would be the most realistic options. So we traded back with the Bengals here. The Bengals traded up for a tackle. Bo Nix at 18 is a little rich for me, but I understand the need.
Yeah, I think 18 might still be a little rich for me, but at that point, you've already traded down once. Can you afford to trade down again? And if Bo Nix is one of those guys that Sean Payton likes, the 7 or 8 guys, according to GM George Payton today, then at that point, it's like, this is a guy that we really like and we could be successful with right now. I think that they should take him. I'd be okay with it.
Completely agree.
Yeah. Like moving not on. My top choice, but like I'd be fine.
Yeah. Into the 2nd round. Jalen Polk, 49th overall, acquired via the trade.
I like this one a lot.
Persall was on the board. However, I don't think he'll actually be there at 49. So we kind of just
we did go off of like a bit of realism.
Yeah. I think Jalen Polk will be there mid-2nd round. So I think he'll fit very well in the offense. He will. I mean, it obviously depends on what they do with Cortland Sutton. If he goes or not, then they'll really.
Or even if not.
Or even if not. I mean, 100%. I think he will be a solid outside option. I just don't. I just am curious what they're going to do with Cortland Sutton. If they're going to keep him, if not, he's going to have a much bigger role if Cortland Sutton is not there.
Yeah, I think even still with the questions surrounding Tim Patrick, whether he's going to come back, them signing Josh Reynolds, like they're going for a type, and I think that Jalen Polk potentially could fit that type. He can play outside, but he can also play from the slot, and that's fine. He's not like the tiniest guy. He's got good size. So, can he be an effective blocker at the next level? Maybe that's something that he could work on for a year. And then next year they move on from Cortland Sutton and he can assume a bigger role. But I did love this pick. I think that this would be an awesome pick, regardless of Sutton is there or not.
Take it with a grain of salt, but Steve Smith said he liked him more than Rome Odunze.
I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one.
Steve Smith knows all. Okay.
Steve Smith's a dog. I don't know
about he had Brian Thomas Jr. at like 15.
Whoa.
Like 15. Yeah. It's he knows what he's talking about. Yeah. Like actually we talked about this earlier. Bucky Irving in this system I think makes a lot of sense. He's kind of a mix between what we already have as far as Javonte and McLaughlin. I think we currently have like a Mark Ingram and a Darren Sproles type, but I think this will give him more of that in between. That he can, a bit more towards that. I don't think totally. I don't think that exists in this draft. And this Gibbs would have been that.
Absolutely,
but I can see this.
Yeah, this would be an interesting add to the running back room. Bucky can run between the tackles. He's not the biggest guy, but he's got really, really good contact balance. He can run through the tackles very well, which if Peyton's wanting to get back to it and you want to run some more power concepts like the guard that you paid so much money loves to do, this would be a great way to boost that running back room. We did not have hardly any explosiveness from that room. Bucky's not the most explosive guy, but if you give him a hole, hey, he'll probably find the house. So,
that's what they're calling it these days.
Yeah.
So, also, I think that's
the pass catching.
He had by far the most targets out of any of the other running backs in this class.
And that were on the board at that time.
Yeah, absolutely capitalize on it. So I think that's very important for this offense. And I think it's definitely.
And we took Bo, so now you have two guys that know each other, have played with each other, understand each other. That's huge.
We totally watch everything's outside of the Pac-12 or what was the Pac-12. So how about you get out of our faces?
Yeah, they did fine. Loved this pick as well. Loved this pick.
121. Tio Johnson.
Yeah.
Giant being.
Mean.
I think.
Mean. He can
very mean.
He can block too.
Will run you over. He likes to run down the seam a lot, and it's probably terrifying for safeties.
Humans should not
watching
move like
that. Run at him, at them. Yeah. I think he would be quickly utilized.
If you miss on Brock Bowers, but you still need a tight end, getting Theo Johnson in the 4th round.
Yeah,
I'll take that.
Absolutely, I could see that. In a perfect world, I would take Senate, but Theo, I just think is quite the weapon.
He's a good blend.
Good
blend.
Yeah, I think he'd honestly probably be a little closer to like a Noah Fant that we used to have, but I think he's stronger.
Yeah, for sure.
I would be very happy, honestly.
All right, we got 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Shite. Mason Smith, DL help. Very strong.
He could probably play. He could probably play more nose in this defense.
Closer to,
but probably move DJ Jones there if you don't get anybody else.
Yeah, I think he needs to put a bit more weight to do one, but I think it's a very much possibility. I mean, to be honest, right now, Sweat might be an option.
Yeah.
So, okay. And moving on, Christian Jones out of Texas, round 5, 145. Gets some more tackle help, more of a developmental tackle to once we decide what to do with McGlinchey and whatever we do with Bowles, if we use him as draft cash or what.
Yeah.
Boom.
He made sense.
And then
our boy.
PFF did not like this.
PFF hated this.
Yeah, we are Dwight McLaughlin's fans.
Yeah,
dude allowed like 44% completion percentage over his career.
I have the numbers right here. I got the numbers. Hang on. He was. Nope. Oh, there it is. He allowed a 50.0 passer rating in his 2 years at Arkansas. 6 interceptions, 14 pass breakups, allowed 3 touchdowns, 8 penalties, but 0 of them were in 2023, and allowed a 48% catch rate on 79 targets.
Yeah.
He's not a press guy. So if the Broncos were to play more press, he's not going to be that guy. But if you want to play some zone, if you need someone to, on obvious passing downs, this is your dude. He can read the eyes very well, breaks on the ball very well. I love the instincts. Big, like 6'2", 190 pounds. He's got decent size, but just needs to work on his footwork and not be so grabby.
Yeah, I honestly love Dwight. I think that he would fit actually very well. And I mean, He could definitely tune up his man abilities, absolutely, but I think he is capable of it, and I think that it would be a swell addition. And definitely some good depth that needs to be had because, I mean, God knows we aren't super confident in Riley Moss. No offense to the Iowa fans if you're watching, you know who you are. And moving on. You talk about your boy here.
Yeah. Trey Taylor, Air Force. Broncos fans should know this dude by now. Jim Thorpe Award winner. I had him in my 7-round mock draft. This guy, like for a secondary that needs more depth, this guy can add some depth. Great special teams capabilities. And this guy's a thumper. Still needs to work on his tackling. He's got really good ball skills, can play the ball well in the air. But I think he would be a good add to that secondary room. And as we emphasize special teams, special players, special plays, this is a dude that can play special teams.
100%. Moving on to our final pick of the draft. I'm sure we would have traded back more by now, but we got lazy. Christian Boyd.
There's no way that he's available right here.
Yeah. Out of Northern Iowa.
There's no way. There's no way.
I really like this dude. He's a big boy. He's 6'4", 317. I think could potentially be an option to test him out in one tech. Heavy hands.
Yep.
Big dude.
Push.
He's a lot of push. He's a sleeper love for me, in all honesty. And I think it's just another addition to that room, which desperately needs help. At this point, we have a lot of different options. You can kind of throw a lot of different ways. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, everybody, thanks for showing up. Hit us up on Twitter. Let us know if you have any questions, if you hated what we did, if you loved what we did, if you want Patrick Chiotti's number, anything. It's just going to be a good time.
Public record by now.
We'll see you guys at the after party. Enjoy the draft in a week. Let's hear all your hot takes and your cold takes. Love you all.
Deuces.
Bye-bye.